Welcome to Sacred Healing, Mind, Body, Soul, where I provide medicinal herbal remedies and spiritual motivation. With the guidance of God, we can live a healthy and productive life. Thank you for joining Awake with Queen H.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you
How
for
you guys
joining me
doing?
on tonight. I just want to welcome the one and only Zachary Laval. He's joining me on tonight where we'll be discussing what it is like to be in a relationship with someone who has mental illness. So you guys get ready, take some notes because it is going to be wonderful. You're going to learn a lot of truth and knowledge and understanding of the obstacles that the one that is either you're in a relationship, you have a child, or your mother, or you're a father or a grandparent, whatever that is, or whatever it looks like to you. We're just going to go, dig deep and, just be honest and truthful. So Zachary's going to come and he's going to introduce himself a little bit and why this is a topic that means a lot to him, that's important to him. And why is it that, he's an advocate for mental health, illness in general, and what some things that we could do is to actually help the person and their recovery and staying in recovery and being healthy. So Zachary, can you please kind of just, open up, about your experiences and, your understanding of it?
Okay, how you doing, everybody? My name is Zachary Lavelle Hutt. To be honest with you, the things about the mental health, it's really, to me personally, it's looked over. Like, um, they're wonderful people deep down. I was in a relationship and kind of still am a little bit, and she has mental illness, and it's a lot of different disorders. But like when I first came into the relationship with her, I wasn't really for sure on how to
Mhm.
go about it, how to actually like know what it is and like spot it out. So at first it was like, okay, I'm in the relationship with this person, but when they're in their manics and their triggers, you kind of just look at it as like, okay, this person is a little bit off. Like this is, but I'm not a judgeable person. I didn't grow up judging people. So like for me, I just take it in, okay, this is who this person is. But until I actually got to actually know this person and actually like, okay, figure out what it is and how to go about it, it became a little bit easier. It wasn't easy at
Mhm.
first. Like the first year, it was like, okay, trying to figure what is out, what triggers this person, what causes this to be like this, and then go on from there. But the first year, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I don't know if you guys, anybody has been around a mental like disorder person. It's
Mhm.
not a, it's like you can't really tell at first. You can kind of like tell a little bit depending on the person, how they act and how they are. But for mine's, it was more as of their disorder was out. Like you can tell it was something wrong. But once I stuck by you, like you have to stick by their side. So if you're
Mhm.
dealing with a person with mental disorder, you have to know in your heart before you even get into that further. You could be a relationship, it could be a family member, it could be a friend. You have to know deep in your heart. You have to stick by them because once you become with them every day, that's all they're gonna know is you. So like when they're regular and you're just around them when they're not in a manic, they're like the coolest people to be around. They have the best mindset, they have the best heart. So you got to know in the back of your head, okay, you're around them when they're not in the manic. So when they're becoming in their manics, all they're going to remember is you. So that's all they're going to want to come around with. Even if you try to push them to a side, they're not going to,
Mhm.
in their head, it's not going to register. So you have to kind of be there for them. If not, they're going to just get lost in this world. Now, when I say lost in this world, I really mean that. They will just wander the world, just wander off,
Mm.
and it's pretty sad.
Give an
And for,
example of what you mean by wander off, because wander off can become in many different forms. Be
it
specific
can.
about what wander off means.
So wander off is basically as in, okay, you're dealing with this person, like I said, relationship, friend, family. If you're dealing with this person, you don't give them the time of day. You have to give these types of people the time of day. You have to have, well, this is like learning after like 3 years of this. You have to be there for them. That's what you have to do. Now, if you like, okay, I don't want to deal with them because I'm annoyed right now. Now that's when this wander off comes into play. Wander off meaning as in they're going to cut their phones off. They're going to
Mhm.
go buy a separate phone. Even
Mhm.
though they know they have a phone, they're going to turn this phone off and they're going to go hide it. Then they're going to buy another phone. And then they're going to cut you off completely. Like, when I say completely, you're not going to get no calls. Even
Mhm.
if you try to reach them and you do reach them, they're not going to answer. And then wandering off is, in another term, is they're going to leave the house. And then you don't want that to happen, because once they leave the house, they're going to be in this world walking around. They're not going to be driving. They're going to be walking around, taking Ubers. And I'm gonna give you an example I have with my relationship. Of course, I'm like everybody else. You do get annoyed by it. It gets irritating after a while. Sometimes you just can't take it. So you're like, okay, I'm just like, okay, I got to give this a break. I got to go. And I did that, but at the time I didn't know like what it like how extreme would this be. So she wandered off. Like, she left, and it took me, my friends, her family. It took us 18 hours to find her. And when we found her, all she was doing was riding the MARTA back and forth from H&E Homes all the way to the airport, just riding it back and forth. So when we found, that's what I mean by wandering off. And
Mhm.
to them, they're not doing nothing wrong, but to them, they're thinking they're regular, and they're really not. So, but then you have to think about the people they may come in contact with. Like, this is what people don't understand. They may think, quote unquote, they're on drugs, and they're really not. They just in a manic. That's why, like, I take it very serious, because when I see that, like when I drive downtown, or if I see people, I can tell, because I've been around it for so long now. Like, they're not on drugs. They're in a manic right now. And if another thing is, if they're not on their medicine, that's the biggest problem, because it's harder for you to get them back on track. It's because
Yes.
they're so far gone. The medicine's the big thing, and I had to realize is that medicine, they're not going to take it. That's just something you can't make them do. They won't do it, and it just come in time. It's going to come. Like as of right now, it's 4 years later in this relationship. They're just now starting to realize, okay, I can't keep a job without being on it. I can't
Yeah.
keep friends without being on it. I can't function in life without being on it. But when you're trying to tell them this in the midst of
Mhm.
them doing it, they're not going to want to cooperate with you, because in their head they're thinking, I can't trust you. He's going to put me back in the hospital,
Mhm.
and that's not the case. But once they get into the hospital and they get back better, then they realize is, okay, I was doing something wrong. Okay,
Mhm.
I was acting out, and they forgive you. But it's a lot that comes with it. But you really have to be strong and stand by them, because honestly, just because of the person that I grew up to be,
Mhm.
I've always helped people in my life.
Right.
So helping is like, it's like second nature to me. So even in
Right.
like, it became a time where I didn't want to deal with her anymore, and it was just like I lost my happiness, because this was going to happen to you in the midst of you
Right.
doing this. You're going to lose your happiness. You're going to lose what you like to do in life. That's just what it is. But you have to know, okay, if you're going to deal with this person, it's almost like having a kid. I don't
Mhm.
have kids, but
Right.
being with her, like, it's almost, you have to, anywhere that you go, you have to bring him with you. If you're at work, you got to bring him with you. If you're
When
just
they're in their
going out,
manic, right?
when they're in the manic, because if
Right.
you don't bring them with you, then that's when that wonder off comes into play, and you don't know who they're talking to, because they may have different personalities when in a manics. So like, a manic could be anything. It's like, they can either act regular and just act kind of weirdish, or they
Mhm.
can be a totally different person. They can think that they're an astronaut. In their head, they're really an astronaut. So the whole day they're going about, the funny thing about it is, they're so smart. They're so
Mhm.
smart. Oh my gosh, it don't make no sense how smart they are. So like, it depends on what personality that they are when the manic comes to play.
Mhm.
So you got to like
What
know
are
the
some of the personalities that you have had dealt with and identified? Because after a while, you've been with somebody, you get to know, like, okay, this is like real. Like, this is real. This is not just something make believe. A lot of times, people, they don't really understand, like, literally how these personalities change, and each one is completely different from
different.
another. And some of the personalities you can reach better than the other personality. Can you explain that?
Yes. So what that is like, okay, for instance, my girlfriend, when she had manics, she had different personalities, which means different names, different like just people within her. So like she woke up one day and she was Spanish. Now mind you, she's Dominican, but she doesn't speak Spanish all the way. That's why when I say they're smart, it's like they become extra smart when they're in these manics. She woke up and was this Spanish girl, and I can't speak any Spanish nor understand it. So she, when I say the entire 24 hours, she was Spanish the entire 24 hours. The
Mm-hmm.
next day came, she was a dancer, put it like that. She was a dancer. So
Right.
when she wakes up, she thinks that she's this
Mhm.
professional dancer, and she's gonna go to these buildings. She's gonna search
Yes.
these buildings up that's dancers, and she's gonna go to them. And she may get a job because, like I said, they're smart. It's like whatever they wake up, whatever body that they wake up in, that's who they are. So if they wake
Mm-hmm.
up as a mathematic magician, just know they're going to perform some math for you, and it's going to be spot on. It's correct. It's amazing what they are, honestly. Because to me, I had to sit there and I cried one day and broke down to her, and I was looking in her eyes, and I'm just like, "You're really smart. Like you remind me of like a superhero, honestly."
Right.
Because it's like the things that they can do while they're in these manics is
Mm-hmm.
it's out of this world. But for what I want people to know is what dealing with this mental illness, because it's real out here in this life, is you gotta love them for who they are. Like you just have to. Like if you love them for who they are, you can calm their triggers. You can stop the manic before it comes.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta love them. All they really want from you is love, because don't nobody want to stand next to them. Don't nobody want to be their friend. It's because everybody has this image in public where they can't be seen with someone like this.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh, he's they're lame or this, that, and the third, or
Right.
what I'm trying to say is they all they want is love. That's
Right.
that's all they seek. So if they're not seeking the attention and the love, they're gonna go somewhere else and get that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not always the good places where they get it at. That's why you see a lot of them homeless, because they don't
Mm-hmm.
went to the drugs now. That's
Right.
usually what happens. They go to the drugs and they go to the wrong crowd, and it ends
Exactly.
up where it ends up at.
Now, Zachary, tell us about how it, like, even when, like you said, because you're going in and you pretty much know that if you're going, like, whatever the relationship is that there is going to be some sacrifices, and along that, how did it make you feel, like when you, like, you had to go to work or something and you had to bring her along with you to work to make sure that she was okay? Because if you left her at home, she would be wandering. As a person on your side, what does that do to you as far
Honestly,
as?
it, honestly, it's draining. It's physically draining. It drains your mind. It drains your body. It drains your soul. So it's when you have to bring them with you, like you have to, like it's a feeling that I can't really explain. But it almost like for you guys that have kids out there, and it's like you got something going on with your kid, and it's like when you go to work and then they're going to school, you're like sitting there thinking, are they going to be okay? How are they feeling? Who's around them? That's what you're thinking of when you're
Right.
going through it with this person. And for this, like for me, being in it for so long, it's at first it was a little bit on edge, because like I said, you
Mhm.
don't know how they are when they're with you. They're the same person. Just because
Right.
they're with you don't mean that they're going to act right. They may get, honestly, and I'm not lying. I'm not lying whatsoever. You may be out and they may just get naked, completely naked,
Mhm.
and there's nothing you can really do but cover them up and just be like, no, you're not supposed to do that. Like, what are you doing? You can't
Right.
get mad because they really don't know what they're doing, and it's just like you got to know what comes with it, and it's just like,
And how about, like, when they don't sleep? You don't sleep.
oh man, yeah, yeah. So
About
that's
that.
a big thing. That's a big thing. Now, when they're in their manics, they don't sleep, and when I say they don't, they do not, and you can't sleep, because if you do go to sleep, they're gonna go wander off. They're gonna go outside. They're gonna go do whatever that their mind is telling. And believe me, when I say there's something in their mind talking to them, it literally something talking to them, because you could sit by them and they could just turn their head and just have a full conversation with just air. And
Mhm.
some of us that spiritually, they like religions and spiritually there, you'll understand it more, that she is literally talking to somebody, like
Mhm.
whatever the case may be bad or good, it's someone there talking to them. But
Right.
If you're at night with
And this
them,
is a and this platform, we're spiritual, so we can speak on the spiritual aspect of what it really is.
okay, yeah. So yeah, it's someone there talking to her, and it became one time that she was writing words on the wall, and I
Mhm.
asked her what they meant, and there was actual meanings behind them. So whatever is talking to them, you have at night, you really have to be side by side. So now, if this is your kid, your friend, put them in the room with you. It don't matter if you have a blow up bed for them or if there's a relationship. They're going to be right beside you. But if they're not asleep, you're not going to sleep, and if you
Mhm.
are, it's like military sleep, one eye open, one eye shut, because you're not going to get a fully rest. It is what it is.
And then
But
how about when even during the times when they don't want to eat and you're trying to make them eat so they can like not fall out and be dehydrated because now they don't want to have the fluid intake and the food intake that they're supposed to, because people don't really realize that they go through
that,
that process too. That's another process. They're not sleeping nor are they eating or drinking.
yeah, so that's another thing. That's when you see, like, they won't eat. It's like they don't get hungry. It's and they feel so fine. They have the most energy. You would have thought they ate every day. You would have thought they went to sleep every day. You would have thought they took naps. But when she doesn't eat, it's scary, because it's like, how are you walking? How are you having this much energy? So I would
Mhm.
have to literally sit there, and this is like what I'm saying. It feels like you have a kid. I don't have one,
Right.
but you have to sit there and be like, eat this, eat this. You got to do it. It's just something and
Hmm.
they won't eat it by themselves. So you have to physically pick up that fork and put it to their mouth. They eat it, but they won't eat all of it. You'll just be happy enough that they ate something.
Right.
So
Right.
that plays a big role. Like
And
that
how
that
about the
right there.
struggles? And how about the struggles with like when you're trying to get them to take the medicine?
Uh,
Of what you have to hoops you have to go through just to get one pill down,
so
if
like
that.
with that, what that is, when you bring up medicine, they lose all trust to you. They don't want to talk to you. They think you're that you don't think that they're all the way there.
Mhm.
Um, what it happens is, in the beginning, whereas it's I was getting mad, like, just take the medicine. It's gonna make you feel good. It's gonna make you. That's not what they want to hear. Really, you really got to stop talking about the medicine just a little bit, not all the way. But if you having this person, that person coming at them about, just, sweetie, just take the medicine, she's
Yeah.
gonna cut. He or she's gonna cut all ties with you, like block you. That friend's gonna get blocked. Family member's gonna get blocked. And what it takes is, it sounds crazy, but it is true. What it takes is someone that they never met,
Hmm.
because they know that they won't put you in that hospital. They know that they won't come at you a certain way. They know that they won't be aggravated because they don't know what's going on. So, but if you have them, like, okay, friend or a family member, can you just talk to her and then ask her, could she take this? They will take it from someone else. But it's just like
Right.
the ones that they love, they just don't. When they're the manic, the ones that they love, they don't trust, because they know that you will put them in the hospital quicker than someone that they don't
Right.
know.
Now,
But
and now from your experience, how did it affect you when you had to take her to the hospital, knowing that you don't want her there, but you don't know what else to do, and she needs to be immediately on her medicine because the doses that she needs is going to have to be higher and it needs to come from the medical facility. How did that make you feel when you had to walk her in and knowing that that's not, you didn't even want to leave her?
so that feeling was like the distraught. It breaks your heart every time, and I've been there. I've took it here so many times. Not me that as many times that family members have sent it there, but when I took her, I'm not gonna lie, I broke down. I was crying. It's just I couldn't help it, because it's like you don't want to see them walk in that doors. You know that there's nothing wrong with them. It's just they don't want to take that little bitty pill. That's all
Hmm.
it is. It broke me, honestly. It broke me every
Right.
time that she went. And
Right.
it's like and then you got to hear the stories that these
Hmm.
people tell, that when they're living in there, that's another thing that really makes you
Like,
not
and
want to
tell us,
take them there.
like what happens. I mean, things, I mean, these things, there's,
So she would tell me, and a lot of others would tell me too, when you take them to these hospitals, it's people that work there. They're regular people like me, you. They take advantage of these young girls and young boys. They do things to them. They sexually touch them. They do things to them. And even though that they're in a manic, sometimes they can remember these things. Sometimes they know what's going on. They remember everything when they get out. And it's a lot of these hospitals, a lot of these, whatever you want to call them, places, they do touch these young girls and young boys. That it's unbelievable. Honestly, it's like it's disgusting to actually hear all the way out because it will make you mad enough to go up there. That's how
Right.
disgusting it is, you know. So it's like you really don't want. So when you have to take them there, this is all playing in your head. You're like, God, I hope she goes to a nice one because you never know where they go once they get
Exactly.
into
You
the
just don't
hospital.
know who they have working in the facility because not everybody's right. And that's
Yeah, no,
obviously what you see what's going around in the world. Not everybody's right up here.
because you have the most attractive to the non to the just everybody, and then they're going once you're. She said once they give you a dosage. Sometimes it may be here you go, and sometimes it may just be a stab. Like she said, you just don't know. Like, and sometimes when they just strap you down, she said you may wake up just naked. Like, how did I get naked? So
Hmm.
it's like all that plays in your head. So when I have to take it, I'm crying just because I know that she has to go through this. I don't want her to, but I want her to be better.
Right.
You know, but it's a heartbreaking moment. It
It,
really is because deep down, you know, outside the manics don't last. They last long, but it doesn't
mhm.
last longer than them being in a healthy situation. So when you're thinking about it, you're thinking about the healthy situation of them, and it breaks your heart so much because they're the best people alive to be around. And that's what makes me like irritated with other people when they talk about them and stuff. And it's just
Right.
like those are the best people alive to be around. They have the most
Mhm.
biggest heart. They're more loving. They're more caring. You know, like I said, all they
Right.
want is love. They just want a
Right.
friend.
Right. And that's true. And like you said, you've had experiences, actually double experiences, because not only do you have somebody that you're in a relationship with, you also have your first cousin.
Yes, yes, and
You know
that's
what I'm
another
saying?
one.
So, and that's that's another thing. It's not like you're just just your girl. You also have a family member, your first cousin, that deals with mental illness and the greatness that she is.
Yeah, she achieved a lot. Went to graduated high school, graduated college. Going back to get more stuff. That's what I'm saying. They're so smart. It just no one wants to give them the time of day and just
Hmm.
talk to them. Like that's all. That's all they really want is love and someone to talk to. If they could get that, you will really not have a problem out of that because no one wants to live life with no one to talk to that genuinely wants to talk to you. No
Right.
one you could sit here and say like, yeah, I can live my life by myself. That's going to be pretty hard if you didn't start off doing that already. You
Right.
know, um, it's
So
it's
your
it's
so your advice to someone who gets in a relationship or is in a relationship and then finds out they had mental illness or in a relationship. I mean, what's the best advice you can give? Like you were saying, there's something that you were saying, like you have to know what you're getting yourself into.
my best
You,
advice to them would honestly be to actually be truthful to yourself because once the ball is rolling, I mean, you can stop it at any point, but it sucks for that person that you're stopping it on because they're actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, their soul needs you. Their spirit needs you. Like
right,
it needs someone. And it's like once you get the ball rolling and you just stop because it's going to become a lot of different times where you want to stop. I'm not going to lie to myself. I stopped a couple times, but deep
right.
in my heart, I knew that she was in a manic that I couldn't just stop while she was in the manic. I've always stopped after the manic after I
Right.
helped her. But
And do you
for
think
the
that your stopping comes with because of I mean the difficult challenges that come with it is because you're sometimes you need a mental break.
yeah, that
And
plays
that's
a big
where I
role.
believe that is when you have a break is that you need your mental health starts getting affected to where you need to get rejuvenated and get strong and because when like you said when you're in it you got to know what you getting yourself into, but in the same sense you also need self-care.
Yeah, you do, and you will forget about yourself in the midst of this. It's not something you'll do intentionally. It's just something that will happen naturally, and it goes
Hmm.
back to like what you were saying with the sacrificing. You're gonna have to sacrifice your time if you don't want to bring with them. You're gonna have to sit home. You're just gonna have to, or go to a park. You're gonna have to sacrifice that time. So eventually, you're gonna lose the things that you love to do. That's gonna be
Hmm.
coming to a point where it stops and you're gonna forget about your happiness because your focus is gonna have to be on that person.
Right.
There's going to be 99% of the time it's going to be on that person. You gotta you gotta find a way to make yourself happy, and that's when there's times where, okay, if you do have a little bit of peace, you need
Right.
to you know what I'm saying, you need to take that in, because you're not going to get a lot. And if you're not willing to be in it, just be honest with them. Just be a friend. If you
Right.
don't want to be that friend, just be honest and say, I'm gonna have to step back a little bit, because honestly,
Right.
they're gonna respect you more. They're not gonna hate you. They're
Right.
gonna respect you more. But do it when they're not in a manic, so they understand fully of what you're talking
Exactly.
about.
So it sounds like you have matured in that particular part of understanding when you had to, get have some mental health for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Some self care for yourself. That you don't do it in a manic. You wait till they're not in a manic, and say, "Hey, I need some
Hmm.
time because I need to, like, get myself." How do you feel now, as since you've been in it and you've been around it? Where you're at now in it? Do you feel more? You feel a lot, we have a lot more knowledge and wisdom with it now, that you can handle it better than you did when you first? You feel like you're in a better place now?
Yes, because honestly, it's the experience that I have with it. I know how to stop the manics before they come. I know how to stop the triggers. At first, I didn't know none of this. I didn't. And you got to
Yeah.
understand what I'm 28 now. I started off with it dating her at 24. So like
Hmm.
I was still young. Like like I said, I have no kids. I never had to take care of anybody but myself. So, you know, jumping in it like that and actually having to take care of somebody instead of being the boyfriend girlfriend situation, it's a big difference now. It's more at ease now. Like I'm so at ease with it because it's been 4 years that I've been dealing with it, and then it's been 4 years to her to actually realize that
Right.
she's actually doing
Process.
good. Like this person, like this girl that I date, she's actually doing so good. Like
Exactly.
I would have never imagined this day would have came. That's how much heartache and stress that you're going to go through. You would never think that this would ever come to a point where they're going to do good in life.
Hmm.
And it finally got her. She's not all the way that good, but she's way better than
Right.
when I first met her.
And I
So
believe,
honestly,
yeah, and I believe, like you said, prayer and believing that the Most High God can do all things, and that's a big factor, is being, prayerful. And I know you have, your spiritual walk, and and I know you pray, and I know you pray for her. So I believe that plays the biggest factor, in
yes,
it, and I honestly believe like she's came a long ways, to where, I could see the difference, you can see the difference, and how I know is because through you.
yes, yes.
you, you know
I understand. I
yeah, yeah,
understand.
your well-being is when I look at it and I said, okay, so things are good, and I see that how, you have developed. Because, when you're dealing with it, when you're a mental health advocate, either you can sit there and read a book about it, is one thing, but living
Hmm.
it and dealing with it are two different things. And when you have experience with it, comes a lot better than the book knowledge, and
It does.
understanding. So when you're living with it and you deal with it every day, of course you're going to have the experience. And so people, like you said, this is mental health month, and we are advocates for mental health, and we are advocates for, when you see somebody, in a manic, or don't just automatically be judgmental and think that, oh, okay, something's wrong with them, they need help. you know
They do.
they have souls, they have souls, and they like, Zachary was saying, they want to be loved, they want to be understood, they don't want to be misunderstood. And a lot of times people don't understand that their genius is a gift from God, and sometimes that they tap into a certain part of their mind that the average person can't tap into. So there's nothing wrong with them. They're literally perfectly made by God's sight, you know
Yes.
and we keep it spiritually, there's many gifts inside of them. But a lot of times, when we're dealing with different spirits and stuff, these spirits have to leave.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know and she's doing wonderfully. I believe in the Most High God for healing, and just the progress and everything. It's amazing. It's
It
amazing.
is.
How long has it been with great progress?
She's actually been going on for a year and a half now.
Okay.
Greatness.
So a great year and a half, that's an anniversary.
That is. It really is.
Like, that's a big, I mean, a year, literally. is a
and,
miracle.
and she's actually going to refill her own medicine. Like that was just her doing that
That's
alone.
awesome.
That is
That's
so
a miracle.
awesome.
That's a testimony
Yes.
in itself. When a person can say that they've been struggling with this all the way up until this time, and literally they broke a mark of 1 year and taking the medicine and being successful, that's a testimony.
It is. And I can honestly say too, a lot of like when like you were saying, don't be quick to judge when you see a lot of them because a lot of them are homeless. But to be honest with you, a lot of them are not homeless. It goes back to me saying wandering off.
Yes.
Just no one found them.
Mm-hmm.
They wandered off so far that they no one found them. So a lot of them are not homeless. They wandered
Exactly.
off so far from their family, they don't know where they are. So a lot of them, like I said, are just in the manic. They're just wandered off. They kind of wandered off too far and they became homeless. Now that their family or friends, they can't find them. So you can't really be judgmental when you see them. They're just in the manic. Like, only
And
thing you
that
can really
goes
do is pray.
exactly pray. That's all it is. And that goes back to like even with we have someone who by our barbershop,
Hmm.
you know, extremely smart, genius,
Hmm.
but just happens to live under a bridge, and they know they are schizophrenic, and they
Hmm.
know their disease, and they manage it to the best that they can. And but that doesn't mean that they're not intelligent. A college graduate, uh,
Hmm.
served in the military, can come in and
Yes.
talk to the best of the professors that he does sometimes, and just speak crazy knowledge.
Yeah. Yes. It'll
You
blow
said
your
the
mind
genius,
away.
but sometimes like you can't be judgmental because you never know what place that people are in. But
Just
I
like the, just like the person who made the invented the Oxford Dictionary. He was
yeah,
schizophrenic, and he
talk
made that
about
in a
that.
manic.
Talk
Yeah.
about
So
that
there's
one.
there's a movie I can't really get my name on it, but if you look up the Oxford inventor, it'll come up. That this guy, he was at military, ex-military. He became his schizophrenic disorder came up a little bit quick, and yeah, the first Oxford dictionary that was made was a schizophrenic person in an actual hospital at the time as a manic. So he did all that, created this dictionary that we all use to this day. A schizophrenic made that in an actual psych ward being in a manic. So like I said, it
Literally,
comes, yeah, it comes
literally.
to,
It's
like I
called
said,
the
there,
it's called The Professor and the Madman, and it's based on a true story.
yeah. So that's a good movie to watch because it'll break down a lot of stuff too that you don't know. But that's what I'm saying. They're really really smart. Like you were saying, they do tap different sides of their minds that we
Right.
just can't do. So like I said, they're very smart. So don't judge them too much because they will outsmart you real
Oh,
quick.
in an instant, in an
Yes,
instant, literally, you
yes,
give them something and give them got a couple hours and they done mastered. You done thought they went to college for 4 years and
yep,
got a degree.
yep. That's
Literally,
no, that literally, literally.
literally. And they really don't even understand that. I enjoyed today. Our time is getting ready to run out, but today was really important for us, to be, like you said, this is a mental health month, and we are advocates. We believe in mental health. We believe in having a healthy mind. We believe in having a strong mind. We believe to have a free mind, and we are believers that anybody can be healed. And we are believers that, you know what, if you show a little bit of love and you show a little bit of compassion and you have some empathy and get some understanding from their perspective and really listen. Don't just go by because somebody said, you know what, they're bipolar, they're manic, they have schizophrenic. Those are diagnoses. They are still children of the most high God. So there's a soul in there. You have to listen and learn how to sift what needs to be sifted out and listen to what needs to be listened to. But son, I thank you, you guys. This is my son, Zachary Laval. He was blessed me to join me on tonight. So I hope you enjoyed him as much as I did. But we will be seeing him again soon. So I thank you. And we will
Thank you.
be getting out of here, but stay tuned because we have a few little things as we go out. But enjoy your evening, stay blessed, and we will see you on next Monday. I have someone great coming in. Her name is Misty Rochelle. We're going to be talking about her journey of losing weight. She lost 64 pounds. So hey, you don't want to miss this. You want to see how this miracle happened in her life. Y'all have a good evening. Take care. Bye bye.